the story behind the glamour was far darker than anyone realized. And according to people who helped create the show, some of what viewers believed was real may not have been real at all. Welcome to Headline to Heartline. Today we are looking at the revelations and reactions surrounding America's Next Top Model and why people who helped build the show are now speaking openly about what really happened behind the scenes. Let's start with the headline, and then we will move to the heart of the story. The headline is this: the Netflix docuseries Reality Check: Inside America's Next Top Model has reopened the debate, and the tone of the coverage has been strikingly direct. Critics, including reviewers at The Guardian, describe the series as exposing a culture of body shaming, humiliation, and toxic pressure, arguing that what once passed as entertainment now looks very different in hindsight. And it is not just about uncomfortable moments. One of the most significant claims is about the fairness of the competition itself. Jay Manuel has alleged that producers sometimes selected weaker photos for contestants they wanted to eliminate, while stronger narratives were protected because they made better television. If that is true, it changes how we look at the show. It suggests the competition was not only harsh, it may have also been shaped behind the scenes. And if viewers are only now learning how much may have been shaped, it helps explain why this conversation feels so charged today. First, there is the question of responsibility. Former judges have asked whether controversial decisions can be blamed on audiences when creative control was concentrated at the top. Much of the current coverage circles around this same issue. When power is centralized, accountability is difficult to avoid. Next come the moments that now look different in hindsight. Some scenes that once seemed dramatic or entertaining are being re-examined through a more critical lens. Contestants were weighed on camera, bodies were criticized, emotional distress was sometimes framed as storytelling. Reviewers note that these were not isolated incidents, but recurring patterns. And yet, there is nuance here. Standards, expectations, and public language change over time. Revisiting a show like this means looking at the past through today's understanding while still remembering the context in which those decisions were made. But many critics also point out something important. Contestants expressed discomfort at the time. This was not entirely invisible then, it was simply easier to ignore. Then there is the issue of controversial photo shoots. Jay Manuel has spoken about disagreeing with certain concepts, including race-swapping themes, and feeling exposed when backlash followed. Documentary coverage suggests that as the series progressed, shock value increasingly replaced creative judgment, and that shift is now being re-examined. The working environment is another theme that appears repeatedly in reporting. Former insiders describe production as intense, sometimes overwhelming, and at times toxic. The larger point is not unique to one show. The drive to create compelling television can overshadow the well-being of the people involved. And for contestants, many of whom were very young, these were not just television moments, they were experiences that shaped confidence, careers, and memories for years. One of the most disturbing parts of the documentary centers on contestant Shandy Sullivan. She describes a traumatic experience during filming and raises questions about what producers should have done in that moment. She says she was extremely intoxicated. Production did not intervene. The footage was filmed and later aired under the framing of cheating. And this is where the story stops being about television and becomes about real people. The question is no longer about ratings or drama. It is about responsibility when harm becomes content. Many commentators consider this one of the most troubling elements of the entire story. The documentary also revisits personal relationships behind the scenes, including the falling out between key figures. Some questions remain unanswered, and that uncertainty has fueled public curiosity and debate. There is also a deeply human chapter involving Miss J. Alexander. Reporting around the documentary recounts his stroke and recovery and the emotional reality of who was present during that time. That moment resonates because it has nothing to do with television. It is about who shows up when the cameras are gone. Finally, there is the question of the future. Tyra Banks has hinted at the possibility of a new cycle, but reactions have been mixed. Some former collaborators are skeptical. Others argue that the show is being judged too harshly through a modern lens. That disagreement is part of why this conversation continues to evolve. And this story is not only about one program, it is part of a broader reevaluation of early 2000s reality television and the culture that produced it. Shows from that era are being revisited with new expectations about ethics, responsibility, and care. And that brings us to the heart of this story. This is not only a retrospective about one show, it is a case study in power, who shapes narratives, who carries consequences, and how the past looks different once the spotlight fades. Personally, what stands out to me and what much of the current coverage suggests is that the real lesson here is not only about one era of television. It is about how easily entertainment, ambition, and human judgment can collide, and how difficult it can be to look honestly at the past once the spotlight fades. If you found this perspective valuable, please remember to subscribe and like the video. It helps the channel and supports more careful, fair deep dives like this one. The story behind the glamour was far darker than anyone realized.